So beginning current Daf Mesechus Gitin Daf Chavav begins 7 lines down at the top of the Yomid, where the Gemara continues with the halacha of writing the get. The halacha is relating to the Shema and in general writing the get. Shis corresponds because and Chesed turn from the Fachem Shem turn today's Daf. Some discussing today's Daf are Chesed takes a Gitin. Someone is a mass producer. He's got into the Gitin business. So he's writing all these generic texts of Gitin. So, okay, you could write the generic text, but you have to leave over the name, the place where the husband's name is going, the wife's name is going, and the place of the date. The explanations to the Mishnah are going to be based on the Machlokes Rabbi Elazar and Meir. Which part of the get must be written Lishma? Is it the Ksiva or is it the Chasim? And that's going to be relevant regarding what do you have to leave over, obviously, in the get to written Lishma. The Mishnah has two other opinions. Rabbi says, no, all of them are not okay. Rabbi Elazar says they're all okay, except for Gitin Daf, because Gitin Daf specifically, it says B'chas of law, where it's written Lishma. The halacha why a sefer may not pre-write this man in the get. What would be the problem with that? And which is related to the concept of Mechzi Keshikra. If if we say that, it looks like a lie, and therefore you can't do that because how is that possible that was or that wasn't? So begin the current Daf Chavav, 7 line Daf the Yomim. We continue with the next Mishnah. HaKaisiv. Someone writes types of Gitin, the generic text of Gitin, because he's a scribe and this is his profession, and he wants to have ready-made Gitin because sometimes people are very impatient. People are very impatient, and they want what they want right away. And he's busy with some other documents and says, I'm moving on to the next store, whatever, he's done with him. So this guy wants to have ready-made, and so he has all these generic texts. So you got to leave over a certain space, which is Makom Ish, the place of where the husband's name has to go, Makom Isha, the place where the wife's name has to go. Meaning that if he sees that there's a couple that's, some people are always snooping. Some people say it's the mashgiach in the yeshiva. Some people are always looking around what's going on. He has to know the lowdown. So this guy works in the Gitin business. He's looking around which couple is, is a little bit more fighting, a little more screaming, going out in separate cars, whatever. He shouldn't say, I'm going to write the whole get. I'll be ready just in case. I'll have the name. So, and that's what the Mishnah is saying, that no, you can't have their name already written. The writing's on the wall, that they say. It's up there waiting for him to come into the store. It says, I got it right over here. Everyone knew already. We're just waiting for you to pull the trigger. Shema. Yeah, he's doing it Lishma. Everything he does Lishma.
It's a question.
That's
why the husband did not.
That's right.
But the husband has to do it Lishma. Yes. That's the thing. The husband, the Gemara is going to explain.
It's a fighting Lishma.
It's always Lishma. That's so good. And so the Gemara explain exactly why do you have to leave over the place of their names. You also have to leave over a place for the date. Now, Shtari Milva, let's say a loan document. So Rashi explains here also, let's say he hears one guy is chasing after someone else to lend them money. This guy, do me a favor, give me 50,000. And you have that one gvir in shul that everyone runs after and says, do me a favor, give me 50K, and the guy wants to start something. So he shouldn't say, look, you know what? I know this guy doesn't stop. This guy's going to end up getting him at the end. So he says, I'm going to write the document right away because he's going to need it right away. He's going to say, I need it, mama's right now. It's already behind. So, and I'll just leave the place of the date, and so that it shouldn't be a shtar muktim. No, it's not true. You can't just do that. Certainly, you have to leave over the space of Makom Hamalva, the place of where the lender's name should go. Makom Halayva, the place of the borrower's name. Makom Hamoyis, the place of the monies. That even though there really is no concern over here, really, why can't you write? This guy's going to get 50K from this guy. This guy's begging him, he's going to get him. He's just going to take time till he catches him and says, I'm not here, I'm there, I'm on my jet, I'm going to be there later, whatever, come, go. So I have it ready. I know this guy's going to get the money. No, you're not allowed to. Even though there's no real concern because it's a gzeira of shtaris or to Gitin. For Gitin, it's a problem. You can't have it pre-written. For other shtaris, is a gzeira or to Gitin. And Mokum Azman, the place of the date, that obviously you can't have written because that would be a shtar muktim. Be a predated document, which is a problem because of collections and all those other things. Shtori Mekach, regarding documents of purchases, here also you have to leave over the space of Makam Alekech, Makam Amoich, the place of where the buyer's name goes and the seller's name goes, Makam Amoich, the place of the monies, Makam Asada, the place of what field it is, Makam Azman, and the place of the date. And the reason is because of the takana, the institution. The Gemara is going to explain what is this going on, the words Mimnei HaTakana. So it's not clear what these words are. What's Mimnei HaTakana? Now, this is opinion of Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, all these are invalid, meaning, even if you left over all these places, Makama, HaMoicher, and Likeich, even if you left it over, it's all going to be possible. The Gemara is going to explain the reason for his opinion. Whereas Rabbi Elazar, he does the opposite extreme. He's Machshir B'Kul and says they're all okay as long as you leave over these places, Chutz Gitin Daf, except for divorce documents, where even though you left over the space of the names and all those things, it's going to be invalid, even though it's just a typhus, it's just a generic part of the text. What's the problem? Because we're geyser typhus atu typhus. If we let you pre-write the generic part of the text, you might write the primary part of the text. Oh, that's a problem, because she never says in the pasuk, but chas of law, you have to write it for her, which is lishma, which Gemara is going to ask, wait a second, that's on the typhus. Why would you say on the typhus? So the Gemara is going to say, like we said, meaning it's a gzeira atu the typhus, which that has to be written lishma, and you have to leave over those, and if you pre-write those, well, that's a problem. Now, says the Gemara, an added thing that was not mentioned in the Mishnah. I'm going to read the Mishmul. He says, you have to leave over af makom hareat muteris l'chol. You have to leave over also the following line, that you are permitted to every single person, because that's also the primary text of the get. Which Taisa says, not necessarily. We sometimes do other words, but that concept has to come out there, and that also has to be left over to Belasi, which is going like a Belasi. He says that what creates the creases are the Eid Mesira, the witnesses that see it being given over. So therefore, when it says in the Teira v'chasav law, what's law? What's v'chasav? Meaning when you're writing tahar lishma, it's not going on the chasidus, because he holds the witnesses signing on the document is only rabbinic because of tikkun ha'olam, because the Gemara said in the Gimel Mabeis, because the Eid Mesira might not be there. But when it says v'chasav law, it sounds like it's going then on the ikar creases. Is everything that we said has to be for the Eidei Mesira, because which witnesses are what make it, not the Eidei Chasima, and it has to be written Lishma, because according to Reb Meir, you wouldn't need to have all these things written Lishma. It's the Chasima has to be written Lishma. And that's what does that have to do with all the things we mentioned here in the Mishnah? Why you could write his name, her name, you could do all these other things. No, it's going like Rabbi Elazar, who holds that the ksiva, when it says b'chasa, means the actual chasiva, and that has to be done lishma. Now,
when you say all these things, you mean even the names in the zman, or just that in the case of Chavur?
Yeah, so no, all of them. Meaning, yeah, all the things that we mentioned with Harit Mitaz, all those things have to be left over. Now, the Gemara points out an interesting thing, utzricha. As Rashi explains, Shmuel explained 3 anonymous mishnayos like Rebbe Elazar, like Rebbe Elazar, and he said by all of them that you have to leave over the place of the Torah. Where do you have these 3 halachas? So going back to Daf Chafal Beis, Rashi says there was halacha that said you're not allowed to write on something that's attached to the ground. Why can't you write? That's only a problem according to Rebbe Elazar. According to Reb Meir, it's no problem as long as you get it detached before the chasima. That's the main thing. So over there he says like Rebbe Elazar. Then on Daf Beis, on the halacha of everyone that is kosher to write, there also Shmuel says like Rebbe Elazar, because why are you allowed to write? You have to have das. No, he had to explain that it's the typhus, not the typhus, because according to Reb Meir, there's no problem about writing. You don't care about the writing. It doesn't have to be lishma. You can have a cut and cheresh. So he explained, no, it's like Rebbe Elazar, explaining that, we're talking about certain parts, or gadol amal gabav, whatever the explanation was. But he explained it's like Rebbe Elazar. And we have this mission over here, writing the generic part of the text, that we said, yeah, but you got to leave over the tayyid, you got to leave over the primary things, and because it's going like Rebbe Elazar, that you have to leave over, it's the ksiva that has to be lishma, not the chasim. All of these 3 mishnayos, anonymous mishnayos, Shmuel was documented in the Gemara to say, explain it according to Rebbe Elazar. So the Gemara is wondering, why did he have to tell us every one of these mishnayos that this stama was like Rebbe Elazar? So the Gemara explains why you had to do this. Because the Yeshbinan Hachkamaisa, had we only said the first mishnah on Daf Chaf Aleph from Abeis, I would say, yeah, he who the ikala ukma Rebbe Elazar. That mishnah you could say is like Rebbe Elazar. Because you can tell me, what did the Mishnah say? The Mishnah said, Ein kaisvin, that you cannot write on something that's attached to the ground. And then guess what? Ukatani kasvu. Then right after that, the Mishnah says that you could write on something that's attached to the ground. It's going to be kosher. So we had a difficulty. How do you explain the Reisha and the Seifa? So he explained, this is what the Mishnah is saying. You cannot write the typhus because you might write the tayrif. But if you only wrote the typhus, and then you wrote the tayrif, when it was detached, well, then it's going to be kosher. So that I can explain, like Rabbi Lazar, that you cannot write, but you could write. Can't write the typhus, because you might write the typh, but if you did write the typhus, then it's going to be kosher as long as the typh was written after it was detached. Fine. That Mishnah would make sense according to Rabbi Lazar. Aval Seifa, but the next Mishnah, Daf Yomi, regarding everyone that's able to write the get, that Mishnah says there at the end, there's a little bit of halting cup a little bit, but that Mishnah had said that she'en kima get el b'chisamav. We had said that the document is only verified with its signatures. Those are the words the Mishnah said over there. So it says the Gemara, Im Ramei. Maybe that Mishnah is Rameir, because Dama Eidich Simikarti. He says that what creates the creases is the witnesses that are signed, and you don't have to leave over the mukkam of the taivif. Maybe that's why that halacha the Mishnah is telling us a chesed b'katan could write it. Hakol kaisim, because we don't care about the writing. And the Mishnah there, the words seem to sound like Rameir because it ends off, because the whole thing is the chasima. That's what makes the get. That's what you needed Shmuel to say that no, Rebbe Lazi. The Sefer says, She'enki maget l'chesamav. That wasn't coming to validate the case of when the Cheres Sheit v'Katan write a Tairif, Shaloi Lishma. That was going on the middle case. If you recall, we explained it when we said that Mishnah also, that the woman could write the get Lishma, and the man writes the receipt, meaning the woman is able to write the get, which we had said, wait a second, how could the woman write the get? The man has to write the get. V'chasav. He has to write it Lishma. She can't write it. How does she author the agency? Because the woman ends up paying for the get because she wants it. So she writes it up and she gives it to him and he gives it to her. Well, that's a chasaron. So that's what we're saying, that no, don't worry, the key of the get is not with the chas, is only, so this is where it actually gets interesting. The way Rashi explains it, he's explained there also, it's actually the Eid Mesira, not the chasima. The Mishnah says, En ki maget el b'chisamav. No, most of the time, the Eid Mesira are the ones that are signed on the get. And most Gitin are signed, even according to Rabbi Lazar, because of Tikkun Olam. So when we say Enki Magel B'Chisamav, we really mean to say the Eid Mesira, because those are the ones who are usually signed on. So we're saying, don't worry that the woman wrote it, because you know what creates the creases is the Eid Mesira. So as long as she gets it to him and he gives it to her in front of Eid Mesira, that's going to be okay, because it's going like Rabbi Lazar. But that's going on the other halacha that the woman could authorize the writing of the get. Regarding the halacha of Cheres Sheit v'Katan, that's not, the Mishnah was not saying that when it says Enki Magel B'Chisamav. That's not the reason why it's kosher when the Cheres Sheit v'Katan write it, because it's going like Rabbi Lazar. It's kosher because they either are only the typhus, or because they have Gadol and Al Gabav. So therefore, again, this is a little complex, but it's just to try to explain why you needed Shmuel to say over there, again, there's like Rabbi Lazar, because that Mishnah really sounds like Rameir. Because it sounds like Enki Megem on that. They're saying, no, it's not going in that case, it's going in the other case, and that case of Hakol Kaisin is actually the opinion of Rabbi Lazar. Now, case number 3, V'yashmin Bahi. Now, if we had said regarding those two cases, okay, I mean, the second case, Ahi not make a look like Rabbi Lazar, that Bryce, you could explain like Rabbi Lazar, and it wouldn't be difficult like we just explained. But our Mishnah, Eimam in this Sefer Rabbi Lazar, our Mishnah ends off that Rabbi Lazar disagrees with the Reisha. There's a Tanakam in our Mishnah, and at the end of our Mishnah it says Rabbi Lazar is machshav b'kul mechutz b'gitin nashim. In the Reisha, that Tana is machshav by gitin nashim. So, from the fact that the Sefer Rabbi Lazar have a Reisha lav Rabbi Lazar, obviously that means to say that the Reisha is not Rabbi Lazar, and you don't have to leave over the space of Hareit Materis, only the place of the names, because of a different reason. It could be not like Rabbi Lazar, not because you have to have the Ksiva Lashma. That's because the Gemara is going to tell us because they're going to fight. Because the husband and the wife's going to hear, I was passing by, I saw a get, they hang in the store with our names. Are you planning on divorcing? What's going on over here? So because of that, it's where you have to leave it over, not because of the Ksiva Lashma. So I would say that, no, the Tanakh Mishnah obviously is not Rabbi Lazar because the Sefer is Rabbi Lazar disagreeing with the Tanakhama. So Tzricha, no, that's what Shmuel had to teach us, that the Reish is also Rabbi Lazar. And it's Trei Tanoi, Lib Rabbi Lazar, as the Gemara is going to tell us later on. So that's where we needed to have all 3 places that Shmuel had to tell us that the Mishnah is all like Rabbi Lazar. Okay, now, the Mishnah had said that you could write the generic text of the get, but you got to leave over the place of the name of the man and the woman and the date, and it talks about Shtori Milva and Shtori Mekach. And after the whole Tanna Kama, he ends up with the words, what's because of the Takana? So the Gemara asks this question, there's a few different approaches in this Gemara. So it's also a little bit of a halka. Amar Rabbi Yonason says, Netakanas Sefer. Because of, we wanted to make something as a helpful for the Sefer, meaning they permitted him to write the generic text, Shaloi Lishma, as a takana for him, a tikkun, a remedy for him. Moreover, this that we said, Mimnei Takana, that permitted him to write the typhus, because if not, we would have said it's asa for him to write the typhus, the generic text, because v'rebalazi, it's going like a balaza, as we just said from Shmuel. The Amar that he says, Eidim Asir Karti, that the primary thing that creates the creases is the witnesses being given over, which therefore he holds when it says in the Torah v'chasab law, that v'chasav is going on, the ksiva has to be lishma midiraisa, not like Remeir holds v'chasav means v'chasam on the chasim. So, but the truth is, the halacha would really be that the truth is, even the generic text we shouldn't let you write, because then it's a very short step to then, once you're writing, like you said, I'm only going to eat 10 chips. There's too much chips left in the bag. I mean, it's a very one step away from eating those next 2 chips. If we let you write the whole generic text, there's one little thing. He already has the calligraphy pen out over there ready, and just one more step, just fill in the names already. So you might come to write the Torah. But because this Nebuch, this Sefer, we know there's a curse, whoever's involved in the only stam, the guy's never going to make money. And every time someone comes over, he's got to start from scratch, and his wife is calling him, say, you got to pick up from the babysitter, he's going to be all fakrachin. So we want to have that, he should have ready-made text. So Shach Rabban permitted him, as long as he leaves over, the Torah to write Lishma. Now, moreover, as Rashi points out, regarding other shtaris, Shtori Mekach, Shtori Halva, the Torah, even though there's no reason to leave over, there's no halacha b'kas Lishma, that there were geyser because of Torah to Gitin. So that's why we said that there also it's going to be required to leave over. That's the opinion of the Tanna Kama. Rabbi Yehuda, place of a cool. Rabbi Yehuda invalidates by all the cases. Why does he hold it's invalid? Even if you do this thing of leaving over the names of the people and so on. Because first of all, Gazel Teves at the Tev, he doesn't hold this quote unquote Minei Atagana. He's not doing any leeway for the Sefer because, if you let him write the Teves, he might write the Tev. Moreover, Gazel Shtavis, he made the Gzera that by other documents, even the Teves, are to Gitin, because if he let you do it by Shtaris, you might do it by Gitin. That was that opinion. And then we had Rabbi Lazar Machshabakon. Rabbi Lazar, he validates by them all, Chutz me Gitin Nashim, except for Gitin Nashim. Why? Because Taifas are the Taif of Gazer. That Gezer he held up. If we let you write the generic part of the get, you might write the specific part of the get. But Shtaris are the Gitin. To say that we're not going to let you write the generic part by other documents because of Gitin, like Gazer, that it was not Gazer, that would be a Gzera, like Gezera, and therefore he doesn't allow it by that of Gitin Nashim. Now, these next words are from like the Mishnah. Shenemakid says, Rabbi Lazar says in the Mishnah, B'chasav law. It says in the Torah that you have to write the get for her. So therefore, that means Lishma. So therefore, says Rabbi Lazar, I'm not going to let you write the typhus of the get because of B'chasav law. So Gemara says, I understand. But because of law, when it says in the Torah for her, that's going on the specific part of the get. Because the pasuk is talking about the creases, which is the Torah. So how's Rabbi Lazar learning from there to say that we don't let you write the typhus, the generic part of the text, from a chas of law? So the Gemara says, Ella, rather no, don't say shenemar, which would sound like, that's what we're learning out from that's the source of why typhus is forbidden. Rather it should say mishum shenemar. In other words, because it says by the Torah for chas of law, which is lishma, so therefore we're geyser by the typhus, atu the Torah, which is biblical. I think on the days, says the Gemara, Kasha de Rabbi Lazar de Rabbi Lazar. What's the difficulty? So we already mentioned this previously. You're telling me from Shmuel that the ratio of the Mishnah is like Rabbi Lazar. And he lets you write the Teifse Gitin because we're not geizer to the Torah, because of the takana. But to say for the Mishnah, Rabbi Elazar says clearly, chutz begitin nashim. They're not going to let you write the typhus because of the Torah. So Rabbi Elazar is contradicting himself. Says the Gemara, Tchei Tanoim v'li Rabbi Elazar. No, the difficult is it's machlekes Tanoim according to Rabbi Elazar what he holds. That's one approach. Reb Shabsei Amachizkia, he says that actually Memneat Takana means something different. It's not like we read up until now that it was the permissibility of the Sefer to write the typhus. No, it's actually going on the tzarch shianiach. Memneat Takana is this, that we made you leave over spaces in the document of the names of the man and the woman. That was Memneat Takana. What takana is that? Mishum ketata, because of a fight. Because actually, not like Shmuel. Our town of our Mishnah is not Rabbi Elazar ben Meir. He says the primary keresis of the get is the witnesses who are signed, meaning, he holds when it says in Torah of law, it's not the writing, it's the chasima. So you don't have to have the writing done l'shma. And according to Shmuel, you don't have to leave over harayat materes. You can write everything. But you have to leave over the place of the names. Why do you have to leave over the place of names? It doesn't written l'shma. Yeah, because of a fight. Now, the place of the date you have to leave over because that would be muktim, that would be predated, which we already said why this is man by get, because of Shem Yechapa, because of the page, whatever it is. But the truth is, says the Gemara Badin, the halacha would really be the even the primary text of the get with the names. The truth is, lichtav, you should be able to write, because when it says v'chasav law, it's going on the witnesses' signatures, which is the primary writing of the get. But the problem is, the woman's going to be walking by the Stam Seifer's house. She hear how he's writing, and he's mentioning out loud, saying, "Oh, Shmuel is divorcing Rachel," and she's walking by and says, "What?" So some she's going to think, that her husband is the one who told him to write the get. She's going to come up to World War III. They're going to be fighting. He said, "What's this going on that you're doing behind my back? That you're going to divorce me?" So to prevent that, that's why you have to leave the names of the man and the woman, but nothing to do with the halacha of lishma. It's the mepnei takana is because we don't want to cause any fights with the couple. It's on the tzorch sheniach. Why do you have to leave over the names, not on the why we let them write the typhus? That's the second approach. A third approach of the Gemara of Chizdal Ma'avimi, he says no. Mepnei takana means mishum takanas agunas, because of the remedy of the forlorn women. Now, there's actually two ways of interpreting what this actually means. So, Amri law Remeir, Amri law Rebbe Elazar. Some say that this is actually a reference to Remeir, and some say that there's a reference to Rebbe Elazar. How so? So the Gemara explains Amri law Remeir. Some say that it would be Remeir. The Amr, the Chasim Mikarti, he says that the primary creases the witnesses that are signed. So therefore, what? But then the truth is that they should even be allowed to write the Torah, which from the Sefer from the beginning, because it doesn't have to be written Lashma. But what's going to happen is like this: you might run into a problem because he might have a fight with her, and if he has a fight with her, the Rosh Hashanah is going to get angry, and he's going to have a ready-made get. So in the heat of the moment, which oftentimes you want to make boundaries for that reason, he's gonna just throw it to her. So Rashi, like what essentially here, it's like it's not the regular iguna. It's not an iguna, but she's gonna be forlorn because she's divorced. Go ahead, go get your own apartment. Go support yourself. So when we say takana mishum agunais, some interpret what Rav Chizda meant to say was because it's like Remeir that. The truth is really you should be allowed to write everything, but we don't want you to write everything because it's already made. He's going to just chuck it to her and she'll be divorced. So that's why we said not to write the names. But Amalur Rebbe Elazar, some say he meant according to Rebbe Elazar. He says that the primary creases is from the witness that's given over. But the truth is we shouldn't even let you write the typhus because, like we said, then you might write the Torah, which biblically has to be written lishma. But sometimes you have to go overseas. You're not going to find a sefer. Is going to say, "I'm sorry, I'm going to miss the plane. This always happens. You always hold me up. I'm not writing no get." And because because he went overseas. Who knows what happened to him in the Bermuda Triangle where he was, right? And then he's lost. So therefore, we let you write the typhus. So this third pshat of Rav Chisda Mavimi of Takan Zagunas could be read either way. Either that's why we didn't let you write the names, because then it's going to be all ready and done, and then according to May, really we should let you write the names, but we don't let you write the names because then she's going to be out on the street in 2 minutes. But till you get the best, until you, okay, do me a favor, I have no patience with this. Just stay in the house, just stay in a different bedroom, right? Versus if you say it's like a Belazar, that's the other way. That's the reason why we let you write the typhus, because really we shouldn't even let you write the typhus, because if you write the typhus, you might come to write the typhus. That's the problem because it's written Lishma. But we let you because of that other aguna, the real aguna, the one that he might be overseas and he's not gonna have time. He's leaving I gotta get on the plane, I gotta get on the boat. I'm sorry, I can't wait till I can't wait till 3 o'clock to get an appointment to write this document. It's important right now. So if it's already written the generic text, all I gotta fill in the names, no problem, come on over. So that's why. So it's two different. It could be going in two different elements. What Rav Chisda Mavimi's pshat was going on. Now, one of the things we said you got to leave over was u'makom azman. You have to leave over the place of the date. Now, the Gemara says that kapasik v'tani. So you're not differentiating. You're saying like a clear-cut statement that you always have to write on the get the place of the date. Now, says the Gemara, that sounds like Lishlam and Nasun. Doesn't make a difference if they're getting a get from marriage. But Lishlam and Erison doesn't make a difference if they're only engaged, which halachically does a get from the Kedushin also. If you're divorcing your Arusa, it sounds like you have to write a kosher date and not predated. So you can't have it written, you have to wait till it's actually happening. So the Gemara wonders. V'ishlam and Nasun, we understand from marriage, which we already mentioned this machlekes and Daf Zayin, there's two different reasons why the instituted Zman Gitin. Whether according to the one that says, which we had said that a person who might be married to his niece, she was mazana, he's going to save her by giving her a get and claiming they're divorced at the time of this nus. Now that the get has a zan, so she's not going to be saved since this nus precedes this man of the get. So I understand, according to that mandama ikar, obviously that would apply by marriage. Because if he's going to write the date, that day is only a divorce at a later point in time, she's going to collect from the time when it was written. So therefore, you can't write the date yet. That I understand. The problem is, but when you're divorcing from engagement, I understand according to the one that says that if he might be married to his niece, there's a concern of writing a date because she might be mazana when she's arusa. That's also chiv misa. So he might cover for her there too. According to the one that says the reason why you have a date is because of the produce of the utility of the nechse melul, arusa misla peri. Does arusa have any peri? In other words, he doesn't eat har peris. Only from the time of the stipulation of the ksuba onwards, where then he has to redeem her in case that she's taken captive, which is when they get married, as the Gemara says in ksuba zayin base. So why would you have to write a date from a divorce from Edelsin according to Madam holds Mishum Peri? So Rav Amram says, Hamilsa, this teaching Shamim B'nei De'ula, I heard from Ula, that he says Mishum Takanas Vlad, because of the institution of the child, they required you to leave a place for the date, even for a get of anavusa. He says, but I don't know what child there is for Narusa, because they weren't intimate yet. But Kivin Shemit the time, once I heard the following brisa that says, kiss will get if someone says, write a get for the woman that I'm engaged to now, but I'm not going to give it to her until like Shach Nasina, when we get married. Then like Gershona, then I'm going to divorce her. So this guy's already, he's already ready for when they're going to get married. So it says the Brisa ain't a get. It's not a get because that's what's called a get yasha. It's a old get. Ula says matam. What's the reason? Because Gzeira, there's a decree, Shema, maybe she's going to become pregnant when they get married. And Yomu, they're going to say, Gitin Daf. The get was before the birth, the conception of this child. Because everyone's going to think that he gave it to her when he wrote it, which he didn't. So maybe that's going to be possible because it's going to be it's going to be a flaw on the child. They're going to think that it was out of wedlock. So Hanami Rosh Nalacha the Mishnah.
Married yet.
What?
He wasn't married yet when it was written.
Exactly, it's out of right. So that's
It's out of wedlock.
or
There's no get. Not sure have to give a get before you married, no?
no, from Erison you have to give a get.
There was Erison.
Right. So Hachanami Hiros and Halacha the Mishnah, that the reason why you have to leave over the place of the date, even for the generic text of the Arusa, is because the decree Shema, maybe he's going to write the date that day. He's not going to divorce her until after their marriage. They're going to say Gitin Daf. They're going to say that the get was before the son. They're going to say that so there was no kedushin, and ksuba, and she was impregnated after divorce. Which Rashi explained that's a pagam for the mishpacha. It's because it was out of wedlock, such a situation. So therefore, yeah, even by Rusa, you can't write the date simply because of this concern of Gitin Daf. Amar Zera, Amar Rabbi Shloimy, Amar Rav Nuna, Saba, Amar Rav Adbar, Abba, Amar Rav. So Allah is like Kabbalah, that he invalidates only by the generic text of Gitin, because as a gezerah, because of you might come to write the Torah. But regarding other documents, that he wasn't good. He said it's kosher. Now, Kari Rabbi Lazar, Rav recited on Rabbi Lazar, Tavina de Hakimi, that he was the best of the sages, meaning he was the most fortunate one of the sages, the best. Says Gemara, wait a second, even by other documents also, in other words, in the point of that Rabbi Lazar disagrees on Rabbi Yehuda, and that he validates the generic text of other documents. Does Rab also say over there halachas like Rabbi Lazar? But Ramar Papa Mishmei did he says, Hi Ashrasa de Daine. That's the verification, the authentication of the document that the witnesses testify that the signatures are theirs in court. And the court writes on the bottom, we were sitting with 3 judges, and such people came and they testified that this is their signatures, and we verify, we authenticate as we see that this was that's a valid document. So if you have such an authentication, let's say the judges are impatient. They're waiting so long, these witnesses, they're kratzing, they're not coming yet. So they already write that they verified and that they heard these witnesses. But they're just waiting for them actually to say what they have to say. So, psula, it's invalid. Why? Because it looks like a lie. How could you write it if you didn't hear the witness's testimony yet? So Hachanami here also, when you have the generic text predated Mexican Shikr, looks like a lie. So how can you say Allah is like a Belazar that's going to be kosher by other documents by writing the whole document out beforehand if it didn't happen yet? Says Gemara, that's not true. Rav Nachman, as we see from Rav Nachman, because Rav Nachman says, Meir said, even if you find the get in the garbage dump, and it wasn't even written for a woman at all. It was written, let's say, they were practicing on it. If you sign it and you give it to a kosher, it's going to be kosher. Obviously, we're not concerned that it looks like a lie, because since the signing was inappropriate time, so therefore, we're okay with that. And even Rabban who disagreed with the mayor, they'll be getting nashim only by Gitin of women. Because meaning Siva Lishma, because they hold on the writing has to be done Lishma. Other document, fine, we're not concerned, there's no Mexican Sheker. He brings a raya, it says a document that you had borrowed on that document on the day when it was signed. And that same day he paid back already. He needed mamash the loan for a few hours. The halacha is you can't go back and then borrow again that same money, even that same day that the first loan that happened after you paid it up, where there's no concern about what's called muktim, as the Gemara explains this in Bab Mitzvah Yizayim and Alf, where it's not predated, it's mamash the same day. No, can't use it again because the lien on the properties, the collateral, has already been forgiven when he paid it up, and the shtar is null and void, and the properties are not going to be meshubed anymore to the second loan because it wasn't signed on that for this document. So essentially, it's going to be that the second loan is a milva al peh. It's going to be an or loan because it wasn't signed for that. Okay, but says the Gemara as we finish off, time of the nimcha shibudai. The reason is because of a technical reason of that the shibud has been forgiven. But for the fact of a lie, meaning if you would sign for the second loan, even though it was written before the loan, you obviously see like we're not concerned for that. It's going to be kosher if it was written that same day. So again, you see that we're not concerned for merzi kashikra, which, as Tais explains, somewhere over here where he says, so what do you do with the question that the Gemara had asked, that you see that we would be concerned for the, what do you do, hashrasa the daini? What do you do with over there? It seems like that over there we are concerned with Mezik Shikr. Somewhere over here, Tais makes a spalt. He differentiates. He says why that's different. That What? Yeah, what does he say? What does he say again? Is that what he says? It says somewhere that there's like a svara that they're fine. They can't pre-sign it. That's gonna look like, but in general, a predated document. Oh no, it's the last places on the last of the first of the widest lines, and the last of the kushel b'shtar like Hashem Meszik Shikra, meaning because Dafka b'Sharasa Hashem Meszik Shikra, it's kima shtar. Tais explains what that was the whole question was based on, right? You see by the Sharas the Daini, you say Meszik Shikra, so there should be Meszik. How can you pre-write the thing? So it's a bunch of you say no, you see you're not concerned with that. But what do you do with the kasha? So Tais explains that no, that's Meszik Shikra, that's kima shtar. Kima shtar is something that, that's a real Maisa Bezin, that's something that we would be concerned for. But in general, a document that was pre-written, there's no problem about Meszik Shikra. Anytime.